welcome to episode 2 of Hallmarked. I'm Kristen.
I'm Aya.
And we decided not to do a Christmas movie this week.
Yeah, because it's going to be Valentine's Day, so we thought we'd get into the love mindset because why not?
Why not? Because the Christmas movies don't give us enough.
Yeah. Not enough love in a Christmas movie. Plenty of love in a Valentine's Day movie. And what movie are we watching, or what have we watched, and what are we reviewing or talking about, I guess?
We're talking about all things Valentine.
Yes. We watched it with our eyes and had to retain information so that we can tell you why you should watch it.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm going to stand by still that this isn't the worst one we've ever seen.
This is not the worst one we've ever seen. I was actually genuinely surprised and went, wow, we've watched 2 movies in a row where the acting is good.
The acting's really good.
It's just everything else.
Yeah, like the script.
Yeah, the script and just like the concept.
Yeah, it just got a bit boring for me.
It did, yeah. So let's do a few facts about it. So it was made in 2016.
Yes, quite
stunning.
Ish. I mean, we're at 7 years now, I guess.
Oh, gosh, that's so crazy. And it stars Sarah Rafferty, who's Avery, or she's also known as Coach in the movie. And she's from Suits. And then Sam Page, who plays Brendan, and he's from the Bold type. And he is very attractive to look at. I actually enjoyed watching him in the Bold type. I was like, oh, this is cute. But then I'm like, you're doing Hallmark. I don't know. I mean,
a lot of the Bold type guys do. We've also got Pinstripe in a few of them.
Yes. That's
not
true.
in this movie.
No.
He's not in this
He's in plenty of other ones. He's also in The Good Witch.
Yeah, he is.
But then you can tell he left. I'm like, you went and did the Bold type after this. And it's so weird watching him in the Bold type and going, actually, you have range because you can play someone really lame and then you can play like this bad boy. Anyway, that's not the point.
We'll pick a Dan movie later. And we'll get back to it.
So, I've got a quick summary here from Hallmark. I don't know if you want me to read it. I've also written my notes of basically like the general gist of the plot because I found it really confusing.
It was a little confusing.
Like there would not knowing who, everyone's undercover and people have got like
and there are
different
lots
names.
of different partners and friends and love interests for each of those friends.
Yeah, so I don't know, should I read out the Hallmark or what I think it is?
I would love to hear your version of what this movie was about.
Yeah, so basically there's Avery, she's the girl. She's also referred to as Coach. It says that she's a blogger. She's not, she's a journalist. Yeah. I was really excited for the blogger plotline. We didn't get that. Brendan is the hottie vet, and basically they both don't like Valentine's Day. Yeah. And in Avery's job, she has like this undercover, what's it called? Like anonymous advice column where she's known as the Coach and people ask her questions. Brendan's girlfriend basically asks her if she should break up with him because he's not into Valentine's Day. And she's like, yep, you should. And then she breaks up with him and she says, the Coach told me to break up with you. He's like, damn you, Coach. And then he starts writing to the Coach anonymously as, I wrote it here somewhere, bench the Coach. Yeah. So they're having like subplot. They are quarreling with each other with these names of Coach and bench the Coach. Meanwhile, Avery's dog gets sick and she goes to the vet and then they meet.
And they like each other in real life.
They like each other in real life, exactly. And then they bond over the fact that they both don't like Valentine's Day. So then they start going on dates, but she has to, because she's a journalist and not a blogger, she has to start writing articles about Valentine's Day. So they end up going on dates and doing things that have to do with Valentine's Day, which is really weird. Anyway, because he's been writing these comments, the magazine or the articles that she's been doing, like, it's all blowing up and she's becoming famous and everyone wants to know who the Coach is, I think. Or maybe it's like her boss wants to tell everyone who the Coach is. Yeah. So it's like they organize this show off where they reveal the Coach and they also want Bench the Coach to come. Anyway, stuff happens. He finds out that it's her. He's mad. And then they end up together.
That's pretty much it. It had that weird, like, you've got mail kind of vibe to it, but in a very convoluted kind of way.
Like reading that, like I've written more than that, but it was so confusing because they hated each other online, but then they liked each other, but then there was like this big reveal of them, and then the girlfriend was involved.
Yeah, it's weird.
The ex-girlfriend, sorry.
I think we didn't know enough about how long Brendan and old mate had been
old mate,
together
ex-girlfriend. Yeah.
But then also, he was like, I'm working Valentine's Day, that's why we can't do anything. But as soon as Avery was like, do you want to do this thing on Valentine's Day? He's like, absolutely. So I just think that maybe he didn't want to be with the other girl in the first place, and he took it out on Coach.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that kind of stuff where I was like, the choices that you're making here don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but also how he was so willing to get into a new relationship really quickly.
Yeah.
And then go along with all these like date ideas that were Valentine's Day. She did warn him. Coach / Avery did warn old mate. I can't call him old mate because that's the name of the ex-girlfriend is old mate. It's probably like Jennifer, but old mate, no. So Avery kept asking Brendan out on dates, and it was things like the one that made me laugh was the chocolate or candy making class where all they did was melt chocolate and eat fondue.
That's it. And then exiting that being like, I didn't know that was for couples. And then she was like, my sister invited me along, and her sister never showed up, but there was no reason why her sister wasn't there because her sister was the one that invited her to go.
Yeah.
There were lots of moments like that.
See, I don't remember that because I don't think I was paying attention. It was easy to tune out.
It was. And I think we should probably bring some structure back into this before we go.
You can go on a rant all day.
I'm going to start with things that I know that we usually do this at the end. But there was one thing that I didn't particularly love, and that is that we didn't find out anybody's name, let alone Avery's name, for like the first 7 minutes of the movie.
True.
So all of that introduction stuff, I'm sitting there being like, yeah, but who is she?
Yeah, who are you?
And even when she first walked into her boss's office, her boss wasn't like, Avery, come in, I need to talk to you. She was like, hey, Coach. I was like, what is happening?
Is your name Coach?
What is happening?
Yeah.
But I did really like her nephew, the little kid.
Yeah.
That was like...
No.
That was the kind of... This is why you should love Valentine's Day, because he was just so cute.
And for me, it was definitely a thing of children don't need to be in movies. So I was feeling like it was cute, but I was like, oh gosh. I just could see behind Avery's eyes that she was like, I can't believe that this scene is happening right now. I don't know. I've got a different opinion to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I loved? I know we're definitely jumping all over the place in terms of structure. Who cares? One thing I loved is that a dog was a main character.
A dog was a main character.
That dog got a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I thought the dog's name was BuzzFeed. I was like, who calls their dog BuzzFeed? And then I realised it was Busby.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I mean, if you want to call your dog BuzzFeed, we're not going to judge you.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen in a Hallmark movie. Like, you would name it, like...
Busby.
Yeah.
I guess then there's, like, 2 meet cutes in this film.
The vet scenario.
The vet scenario where they meet in person is the cute one. But then the online one where they kind of meet. But I just feel like they were 2 very different people. And I get that. That's the thing of why you should meet people in person, because your online persona is going to be slightly different to your in-person persona. But like, I don't understand why it became so passive-aggressive so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It was, I think for me, the biggest thing that just was... And it's like the whole thing of the movie. This emphasis on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And like they bonded over not liking Valentine's Day, but yet he got like so angry because...
But then they were willing to do all of these Valentine's Day things because I guess there was a purpose to it. She had to write an article about it.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not a massive fan of Valentine's Day.
No, neither am I. I don't see the point. I don't see like how you should define your relationship based on one day. I know it's like meant to be like the day of love or whatever, but I'm sorry if you can't like show commitment any day, like it can happen any day of the year.
Yeah.
If you're solely relying on this one day and then going, no, I need to break up with him because he's not taking me out for dinner.
That was a really weird, I think because that happened so close to the beginning of the movie too. I think for the rest of the movie I was a bit like,
yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. But like the emphasis that her family puts on Valentine's Day, like Valentine's Day apparently is just as big as Christmas in her world, except for her life, but like her family's. And just like the house was decorated in like Valentine's Day ornaments. The parents kept all their cards from over the years. I'm sorry, I'm chucking out that Valentine's Day card. I don't know. I'm not holding on to that. Just the emphasis on that Valentine's Day is so important to a relationship is ridiculous to me.
We do forget one part of the plot. And the reason why Avery hates Valentine's Day so much is because she arrived at her boyfriend's place in the past, maybe a year before. We're not entirely sure. We don't get the timeline.
No.
With a huge balloon bouquet and chocolates to find him kissing another woman.
Yeah. So it's like any other Christmas movie where they say they hate Christmas because their parents got divorced.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, well, no, you actually liked it before. Yeah. You just now associate that day
with something,
but put that aside. And if you actually met someone else, you probably would like it again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. That is true. There are only... I'm going to sidetrack us a little bit.
Good.
There are only 2 moments where I was like, what?
Oh, no.
And that was when Avery told Brendan that he was really good with the dog.
He's a vet.
That's what I said. I was like, I would hope he's good with dogs.
Yeah.
He works with animals.
Yeah. But also he seemed like he was more into the dog at some point. What was your other...
My other one is because in her spare time, she's also an artist.
Oh, this was one of my things too. Yeah.
She pays everything. But there is no paint on her paintbrush. And that sent me. I'm just like...
I think anytime I see like an art scene in a movie like this, it is like, this is not real. You are wearing the nicest clothes, holding a palette like you're like some French artist from the 1800s.
Yeah. Tipping and then no paint.
Done. Lovely.
I couldn't stop laughing.
Was she a photographer as well? They're always photographers in their spare time.
I think she was just a painter this time.
Too much.
But this is technically our first blogger, but like there are plenty of journalists in Hallmark movies.
I feel like also there are actual movies potentially that we've already watched where they are a blogger.
Yeah, we have to go back.
Okay, so you've done your big what is happening here. The biggest one for me, I feel like I've already listed 5, but the biggest one for me is when her boss kept referring to things as the hits are up.
Yeah.
What hits? Why stop calling it hits? Are you talking about like link clicks, reads, views? Like the hits are up. We've got to get those hits up. The hips are coming through. Like stop referring to it as the hits that some just sent me.
What do you refer to it as in the business of digital marketing?
Well, it would be like if you're talking about clicking on an article, like, link clicks.
Great.
Or if it's a video views.
There we go. Folks.
I definitely don't refer to it as the hits.
Can you from now on?
I'm gonna say to my boss. So the hits were up on this ad that we were running. He's gonna be like, "Are you okay?"
What are the other things?
I'm just like looking through my notes. Oh, yeah. This was actually a question from my mum.
Yeah.
Because I watched it with my mum. So we didn't watch the movie together this time. I watched it with my mum, which is not good because she's very different to me. She always sees the positive side of things and like, oh, it's actually a really nice movie. It's like, no, it's not. But her big question, and I totally agree, is, and this is, we're generalizing gender here, but the two men, like Brendan and his best friend, who was weird, by the way, they constantly getting together and having these deep and meaningful chats.
Yeah.
Does that actually happen? I don't know. Are we expect to believe that they're going on a run being like, but how do you feel? Maybe you should tell her. Like, I don't know. And maybe I'm just cynical.
Men, you let us know. I have encountered men who do.
Oh, I thought you could just stop there. I have encountered men.
Well, who like to have a deeper meaningful every now and then, but I don't know how frequently that they.
But are they having a deep and meaningful with you or with other?
No, with each other.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
Okay, well then maybe it's not. Maybe I just assholes. I don't know.
I mean, I also have the advantage of having a brother, where I've witnessed that happen. Whereas you've only got girls in the family.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True. Okay, so another thing that always pops up in a Hallmark movie are the side characters.
Yes.
And, like, how they kind of fit in and, like, the best friends.
Mm-hmm. Deep breath.
I can't remember Avery's best friend, so she seemed to be very forgettable. Did she have a best friend? No, it was her sister. Her sister was her best friend. Okay. It was old mate, the ex-girlfriend. Her friend, because they worked in a cafe.
Yes.
So it was old mate, the ex-girlfriend. Brendan's old mate, ex-girlfriend, worked in a cafe with her friend, and he worked as a vet with his friend.
Yeah.
The friends.
Yes. Were attracted to each other but didn't want to get together, but were wanting to get together but didn't get together and then got together in the end.
Yes. And I'm sorry, he clearly looks like he liked her.
Yes.
Apparently she liked him too, but she came across as if like she couldn't stand being near him. And we were meant to believe that that was her being like nervous and...
I don't want to get myself hurt.
Yeah, but it looked like she hated him.
Yeah.
So it was very odd. It was... I think that was the weirdest side character.
I think there was a lot going on. Because you already had two storylines going with the leads.
And then the ex-girlfriend storyline.
And then the ex-girlfriend storyline, then the best friend storyline, then the ex-girlfriend's friend storyline, then the boss's storyline. There was just a lot going on.
Yeah. There was a lot going on. It's really hard to wrap your head around it.
Yeah. And yet, we were still just a little bit bored.
I think the pacing was really off.
The pacing was slow.
I don't like it when movies... It's definitely like a Hallmark thing. Sometimes it's really good. The music is always really... I think we might have said this about the last movie we watched.
Always good.
Like, the music is really soft, and I was like, just, like, turn it up a bit.
Yeah, the mix is always a little bit strange.
Yeah, and the pacing was off, but the acting was good.
Oh, I wrote down the girlfriend's name, McKenna.
McKenna.
Sorry, old mate.
Old mate McKenna.
Old mate McKenna. Speaking of things that are off.
Okay.
The must wear a red dress on Valentine's Day trope. Must wear a red dress on Valentine's Day trope. To the point where they picked something that wasn't nice.
Yeah, it was an ugly dress.
Yeah.
But, like, they were acting as if, like, this was a red carpet moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not... I mean, I personally, in the 33 years I've been on this earth, have not gone on a Valentine's Day date. So I don't know if a red dress is the thing that you strive for. But it could have been any other colour, or even just any other colour in the red family.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in relationships during Valentine's Day, like on Valentine's Day, but I've never actually done anything for Valentine's Day because I'm not a big Valentine's Day person, so I can't say whether you should be wearing red or not.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't because I'm just like, let's not be a cliche.
But we are watching a Hallmark
movie. Yeah. Do you know what also bothered me is that halfway through the movie, I can't remember, maybe it was after their dance class, they did a weird dance class. They started holding hands. And then she was like, he's my boyfriend. I'm like, is he?
Have you defined this together?
Like, are
or
you
have
just saying this? Yeah, you're just saying this in your head. Have you had this conversation? Just because you hold hands, that doesn't mean he's your boyfriend.
No.
Whatever.
It is very strange. The other thing was the navy black combinations that kept happening.
Oh, I didn't notice.
You didn't notice?
No.
So they kept putting her in like a black top with navy pants or vice versa, and then he would be the opposite.
These costume designers,
Yeah.
these wardrobe people, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Or they do it on purpose. I mean, I've watched a lot of Disney Channel movies in the last couple of days just because, they are a guilty pleasure. And the same thing kind of happens. Whereas the couples, or who will end up being a couple, are wearing the same colour and the same colour scheme. And it is very, I guess, a big old visual cue of what's to come. But I don't know. Navy black has always been a big no-no for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I think it has always been perceived as a big no-no, and it was very much okay. Yeah, no, it was a no-no for me for a while, and then I kind of went, I don't know, whatever.
It's just
I'm
when
over
it's
it.
two very block colours.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you style it, and in my opinion, no one ever looks good in a Hallmark movie. Like, no one ever dresses well. I don't know what kind of... you don't have to have a big budget to dress well.
Yeah.
You just have to have bad taste.
Yeah.
And I think the wardrobe people had bad taste.
One day we will watch one and we'll say, it wasn't that bad with everything.
I don't think that's possible.
I have hope.
I don't. Do you have any other major notes? I think I've covered all the things that frustrated me. I haven't said anything that I liked.
I think the thing that confused me the most about the end was the anger coming from both parties.
Yeah.
About not knowing that the other person was coach or bench the coach. When the whole thing is anonymous for a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
And instead of just sitting down being like, okay, what did I do to hurt you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I know is never going to happen in a Hallmark movie, but both of them were just like, what were you expecting me to do, or how could you have done that to me? And I'm like, he didn't
But they
know,
didn't do
or
it
she
to you.
didn't know.
She didn't know it was going to be the vet person. It's all anonymous.
Yeah.
But, that's the other thing. Old mate, what's her name? McKenna. She thought that Avery did it on purpose and that Avery and Brendan were already dating, and she said you shouldn't be with him. I was like,
It became
what?
this really, I guess the plan became more complicated in their heads than the plan actually was. And maybe that's what was confusing about the plot line, is that everyone was taking everything very seriously.
Yeah. And I can't remember who, because McKenna, I can't call her that, old mate, she found out who Coach was. What did she do with that info? Did she go to Avery?
She went to Avery.
After the big reveal?
Yes, and was like, bench the coach is Brendan.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah, and he was there at the reveal, not realising what it was.
I think he was there. He was there at the reveal knowing that he was going to meet Coach, but he didn't know that Coach was going to be Avery.
Yes, that's right. And then he was confused when Avery's mum and sister rocked up with flowers.
Yes, and didn't at any point be like, is Avery Coach?
Yeah.
He was just like, what's happening?
Yeah, but also, I think the reveal was happening at the newspaper.
Yes.
At the newspaper headquarters.
Yes.
Wouldn't he have known where she works and gone,
the thing.
1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 4.
I guess when you are in an anti-Valentine's Day club, but you're doing lots of Valentine's Day things, the topic of where do you work doesn't come up much.
Well, they were talking about work a lot. And the thing is, she brought up a lot, there's someone, saying these things,
And then
but
when
never
she would
elaborate.
reply to his messages online, she would put in these little personal aspects that I'm like, dude, do you not see that 3 seconds ago that's exactly what you did?
But wouldn't you be able to tell someone you're dating, I'm Coach, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
or
are they really good? Is it really that big of a deal? Like, does anyone care?
Maybe the problem with this movie is that we expected too much from it. But I did really love, other than the kid, I did really love the dad at the end.
Can't remember him.
Just had a moment of like, yes, the Valentine's Day cards came out and like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But what he was saying, I think there's not always a moment where we see in movies the older generation of men being a little bit more vulnerable. And that was really quite sweet.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
But then it was ruined by Avery saying it's time the coach started thinking about the team.
The writing. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Flawless.
So, like, I went back and forth, and I think this was, only like an hour and 20 minutes or so?
Long. Too long.
But that last half an hour, I was probably on my phone for a lot of it.
Yeah. I think that's why I can't remember this moment of the dad, because I think I was like, we need to finish this movie now. We get you're going to end up together. Just get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have Christmas trees to count.
No, we didn't. We could have counted love hearts.
We could have.
There were too many.
There were a lot of cookies that were love hearts, and I think those alone would have pushed us past.
Do you know what we should have counted? There were a lot of. I wish I wrote specific lines down. I was gonna watch it again and write the lines down, but then I thought I have to watch it again. We could have counted the number of like cliche lines. There was a lot of cliche
or cliche dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess that was the point. They were going on cliche dates.
Yeah.
Like,
so we usually count Christmas trees. We can't count Christmas trees. But, you know, we should end on a positive. All right. We know that you liked the kid.
Yeah. And the dad.
And the dad. Give me one more positive thing.
I did really like the acting.
Yeah.
I guess. For the actors themselves do a very good job in this film.
Yeah.
And they're quite believable as a couple.
Yeah.
And you don't always get that.
Yeah.
The chemistry was good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree.
3 things that you liked, because I don't think you've given us any.
No, I like the dog.
Great.
I like the dog BuzzFeed. I liked the acting. I feel like I can't count that because you've already said it, but I do agree. I liked that they were a slightly older couple. It wasn't like about a young, in their 20s, 30s couple. They were a bit older. And it kind of gives that, you know, idea of like, age doesn't matter. You can find love and happiness.
Every day is Valentine's Day.
Every day is Valentine's Day, no matter how old you are. Yeah. So I liked that. A third thing. I can't think of one. I want to say the acting. I'm just going to say it. But only the acting, only from the 2 leads. Everyone else was... The dog was a good actor. Yeah.
Great.
But I think the big thing for me was just that they were slightly older. Even though it's not Hollywood and it's Hallmark, I just feel like we're often pushed with like that younger story.
We are also getting older, and we would like to think that even though we're reaching our mid-30s to early 40s, we would
life is still good.
Life is still good, and that we can maybe one day find love. Maybe. We'll see.
One day. If you couldn't tell, we're single and cynical.
Yeah, maybe we should have introduced that in the first episode. Our view on Hallmark movies might change depending on what
I really don't think it would, because like even when I was in relationships, like long-term relationships, it was very much like, please don't be lame or corny. Like it's just... not a nice thing. No. But I do, maybe we're slightly more cynical and negative because...
Maybe.
I don't know. Or maybe just
about Valentine's Day movies.
I don't know.
We'll go do some soul searching on this and come back to you maybe in a Patreon episode.
Oh, yeah. One day we'll set Patreon. Yeah, that'd be nice. You just gotta let all your friends know.
Yeah.
Have a listen.
Well... I don't really have anything else left of this movie except that we haven't rated it out of and we can't rate it out of Christmas trees.
No. It's a rating out of 10 hearts.
Great.
And see, the thing is, as we mentioned in our first episode, we will have a spreadsheet of how this all... And we got to think about... Luckily, this is early on.
Yes.
But you've also got to think of what's to come.
Yes. We want you guys to have a full catalogue of movies you can just go to.
Yes.
Mainly during Christmas time.
Okay. And Valentine's Day time.
And Valentine's Day time, which is tomorrow. So.
What? Yes, true. What would I rate this?
Yes. One being like, put it in the bin.
Yeah.
It should never have been made. 10 being, this is the greatest movie I've ever seen, and I will probably watch it 17 times before Valentine's Day.
I am going to give it... I'm going to give it a 5.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, the acting was good, but I definitely never want to see this again.
I was leaning more towards like a 6.5.
Okay, so that's
still in the same range.
Yeah.
I also probably won't watch it again, but I would probably recommend it to somebody to watch if they were looking for a Valentine's Day movie. Only because there aren't a lot of Hallmark Valentine's movies that are available in Australia.
Yeah, true. If you feel like watching it,
watch it.
Yeah.
And then talk to us about it, and then we'll rant more.
Can never stop ranting.
No.
Yes, well, that's true. If you do want to talk to us about any movies that we talk about on this podcast, you can message us on Instagram. Someone will check it. Someone will answer. And we're open to discussions.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, because we are filming this. Hello. And we will be back with another Christmas movie. We haven't quite decided yet. We thought we had one, but
we it's not on Prime, so now we have to go hunting for another.
We want to make it accessible so people can watch it, whether it's on Prime, Stan, Netflix.
And we don't get as many in Australia as you do overseas.
No. So we will we'll mention it on socials, or maybe even in the show notes for this, actually, because by the time we will have it for the next one. So then you can like watch it with us, well, before you listen to the episode, and have a bit more context. Because I don't know if it's weird. Like, do people understand what we're talking about? I know what we're talking about.
I would assume that the people who are listening to this podcast are Hallmark fans.
True. You're not going to be like, do you know what I feel like listening to? A Hallmark podcast. Have I ever watched one? No.
And if you haven't watched a Hallmark movie and you have stumbled across this podcast, thank you so much for listening. And you should watch them. You can find most of them on Prime, or there's plenty of alternate versions on Netflix and Stan that we will get to later in the year.
Yes. It's all fun and games. Yay, 2023!
Anyway, guys, until next time, bye!